DCeased, Dead Planet, issue 2. Tom Taylor writing, Trevor Hairsine on the art. Tom Taylor got bumped to third. Now, admittedly, uh, you know, just by its nature, events and tie-ins to events always have to go at the top. Otherwise, it would be second, right? Strange in that this would be higher up.
Before we jump in, I forgot when we were talking about the list of fandom creators attending. Harrison is. I didn't spot Taylor's name. Doesn't mean he's not, but Harrison's there, which means maybe more DCeased being announced.
Possibly. It wouldn't surprise me. So this issue kind of interestingly, for the most part, actually follows on from the characters that were in the other mini. The Unkillables.
Yeah.
Like obviously the characters from issue 1 in the mainline book they do appear and kind of intercept with them when they come for Sanctuary and the Guardian, as it were. But we see Roy and we see the magic users show up, and for the last 5 years they've been doing a decent job of keeping their
the new Shadow Pack.
The people safe from the zombies of the world. Including Ragman, who I'm sorry, Arrow ruined Ragman for me, because as soon as I saw it was Ragman, I started giggling to myself.
Me too.
But so explain why it's so bad from Arrow.
He wasn't even that bad. It was just the way he appeared for like half a season, and then they wrote him out with like no warning, no explanation. He just vanished.
Yeah, it was just really weird how they treated him. It wasn't so much that the actor or the version of him was bad. It was just he became such a sort of running laughing joke for us whenever we referenced him.
Ragman's one that I always want to get into because so like some other heroes, there's a small contingent of people. Like I'm sure I fit into that with Booster Gold. Ragman has fans, and they're very diehard for Ragman, which is cool. But I can never there's never that one story that they can point me to like that's fantastic that I should read. But so seeing him show up, I was like, oh, that's cool. How's that power going to work though when these things don't have souls? And then Tom King through narration delivers on that.
Tom Taylor,
no,
I think you'll find.
Tom Taylor. We were just talking about King.
In Matt's defense, I think I implanted that accidentally.
Yeah,
when we were talking about.
So Swamp Thing's got a concern. He shows up. There's a bit of fighting, of course, which has some fun. But Swamp Thing shows up, says, "Okay, there's an area in Australia." I wonder if Tom Taylor specifically picked Australia just because it's the homeland.
He definitely did.
But he's there's a garden in Australia that needs our help. And I love the panel of Swamp Thing because Constantine's like, hey, there's a bunch of people, zombies here, to deal with, and he's just like, oh, I'll deal with them, and he just spikes them all with vines, like just really quickly.
Yeah, and he's like, why don't you just open with that? And then Australia is like, nah, piss off, mate. Australia was a shithole before the undead.
Dangerous thing you'll find. That's kind of dangerous.
This is me interpreting Constantine talk.
Yeah, last night we were recording TV. Just Connor insulted like 4 countries in the space of 5 minutes. He has some serious xenophobia going on.
Well, no, I didn't get around to insulting the Australians in that, so I had to make up for it.
So
real quick, can we just talk about how cool it was to see Detective Chimp ripping arms off?
Sure.
Very cool. Yes.
Sure.
Like, come on, man.
The flame off as well made me laugh.
Yes. So we have the Garden in Gotham, and the characters showing up. So Rose goes back without the others because the others all go to Australia. Harley's there with their glasses on, looking all kind of weirdly mixed between scientist and Harley Quinn. The Tower of Fate is actually in the middle of the garden, helping protect it,
which is cool
from the outside world. Yeah, it's another example of Taylor using everything in the DC universe to be a part of the story. We see Fate, we see Mary Marvel there, and all the rest of it. And she had such a big moment, of course, in that many. Probably one of my favorite things in the whole of DCeased so far, to be honest.
It's probably the standout moment of the whole thing.
But yeah, you've got Damien and Jason reuniting and embracing, and Cass, saying the Bats looks good on him, all these things. And they have this debate because Dinah has Oliver in a green bubble. Sort of isolating him because he's infected, and they drop this bombshell on when Ivy and all that say, no, we keep people outside because we don't let any infected in here. And then they drop the bombshell, which of course they just learned at the end of last issue, is that there is a cure. They haven't found it yet, but they're convinced they can get one now, which really changes everything.
And it's such a downer for everyone there. Going, we spent years killing all our friends.
Yep.
I thought we dealt with all this, and now we did the wrong thing.
Yeah. So and it's inside Cyborg, so they're going to look into it and see. They also reveal here that Damian and Cassandra, as in Cassie, Wonder Girl, not Kane. It's just really important to point that
Especially
out.
now they're both around.
Yeah.
Right.
They're in a relationship, which makes sense because obviously Cassandra Kane was never on the other planet with them. But just to make it clear, so we see them kissing, so that sets that up. But the real stuff here. So this issue I thought was solid, right? It was fine. It wasn't as great as the Inkillables issues or anything. It was just solid, doing its thing. And then we get to what this River of Blood turned out to be, and I popped my tits off for this.
It Australia really is dangerous.
So there's this like a central like building, and there's this River of Blood, and then all these zombies around it, and they're debating how to get in. And it's Bobo that realizes that's not blood, this river. And we get this gorgeous 2-page spread. It's actually Plastic Man, who is zombified, but he's just this melting river of plastic. And he comes out of the plastic. You can just see sort of the goggles, kind of, and part of the face.
Yeah, and then what looks like the tongue reaching out towards them, but the tongue is like made up of like just spikes.
Yeah, it's wonderful horror stuff. That again, it's just like using different. Because was Plastic Man in any DCeased before?
No. Not that I can remember.
But this was just like this was so exciting. I feel like he keeps finding new things from the DC universe. Okay, what if this appeared in DCeased? How would it appear? And what's happened to it? And and this was just a wonderful that ain't no river. That's Plastic Man.
Yeah, and then the Shadow Pack goes down.
Oh yeah, like they just start. Zatara goes pretty quickly. This is the cliffhanger at the end of the book. We get there's 3 mysterious characters in this central structure, that Plastic Man was sort of like orbiting, but Constantine might still be alive. It looks like he's getting swallowed by Plastic Man at the end, but
he's not impaled like the others. It seems to be him, Bobo, and Swamp Thing seem to be still alive as they're going in, whereas the others have been a bit more impaled.
Yeah. So they may maybe Plastic Man will keep them alive because he's working at the behest of these 3 mysterious figures.
If he's zombified, though, I mean, how do you control that?
Maybe that'll be a plot thing. Maybe we'll find out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's definitely not going to be like who we expect, right? Like
because it says next time a greater evil, so
right.
I'm expecting like a villain even worse than the actual zombie apocalypse. It's some.
Yeah,
it's interesting because we ruled out a bunch of villains in the Unkillables stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We had
your Grundys.
Yeah.
Vandal Savage.
Yeah.
He was part of that, and like I'm curious of where Lex is in all of this, but that's 2 on the nose.
Maybe.
Right?
I mean, if one of them is Lex, it wouldn't surprise me.
No.
Well, I think the one on the left's Cold Snap, but that's just me. So.
Sure.
Real quick, what would you call the Mr. Freeze Batman from the Legend of the Dark Knight?
Legend of the Dark Knight?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Remember he was the Freezified Batman?
That's good. I bet there was a bat that lived like through the Ice Age that we could go back and like.
Look, this is a great week for our love of cold villains because we've got 2 new ones introduced coming up in Batman.
Yes, that'll be Batman. We'll get there. But yes. So I'm thinking Cold Snap, Minister Blizzard, and maybe Icicle Junior as these 3 shadowy figures. That's my guess. Also, there's a possibility that these aren't traditional villains, but they're just villainous now.
That's what I mean. Like
Ted Cord. Ted Cord's one of
no, I would not put it past him. Because Booster did go out, right?
Yeah.
In Unkillables. Or no, Booster went out in the DCeased,
one shot.
The first one, in the one shot.
Yeah.
Oh, that is good, Pete. I know you said that because of Suicide Squad, but
you never know.
Maybe it was writing this that led him to be like, who would make a good villain? Ted Cord. Yeah.
Yeah. Or hell, I mean, we're guessing DC cards. For all we know, this is like the 3 surviving members of Queen or something. I don't know.
In Australia?
Why not? Why not? They were on vacation. They were touring in Australia.
Also, King has gone on. Okay, I just did it again. Taylor's gone on record. I hate you for this, Connor. You incepted me. He's gone on Twitter saying Laura's the only true Wolverine, and he won't acknowledge the other one, which is killing me.
Oh,
because there are people out there
right.
that don't realize that Tom Taylor has written all new Wolverine and whatnot, so they just think he's just some guy with a wrong opinion.
With a wrong opinion, with a correct opinion.
No, but Wolverine fans are like Batman fans, right? Like there's a whole load of them.
You mean that they're always wrong?
Well, there's that. But they're on the surface like, yeah, I love Wolverine, and Logan is the Wolverine, and
they like big manly snakes.
Yeah, and so he goes. He posted a picture that someone drew of Jonathan, and he goes, "The actual Wolverine," and he capitalized it. Laura and Gabby, the only Wolverines I acknowledge, and it's really funny. So
that's good. Yeah. That's good. All right, that's right. DCeased Dead Planet issue 2, Matt. What you give it?
Because of the shock factor and whatnot, I'm gonna give this. I mean, it was a well written issue, but it had a lot of fun turns. I'm gonna give this an 8.5.
Connor?
Yeah, same for me. I think it was trending towards the 8 until that last handful of pages, and then it kind of stepped up a notch and was like, oh, okay. So 8.5.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to go with the straight 8. If anything, I was probably hovering around a 7, which is low for a Tom King. A Tom Taylor.
See? Damn it.
What have I done?
I can't believe this is starting that. Which is low for a Tom Taylor issue from any of us, but me especially here. But then I think the last 4 or 5 pages just elevated the whole point. I was like,
an 8's acceptable. It's on the low end of what we will accept for a Taylor book on this show.
Exactly, yes. Yes, if I get a 7.5 from Taylor, I'm right. And
that's downright disappointing from Tom Taylor.
Yes, even though most writers would kill for a 7.5 on the regular. So there you go. That's DCeased Dead Planet issue 2.